Hi guys, Dr. Christy Ennis. Welcome to Follow Me Friday, where motion is lotion. And today we are working on closing the gap that happens in the center of the stomach in that rectus abdominis muscle when that stomach can get a little larger, like with pregnancy or weight gain, or even if you're bearing down and holding your breath, that pressure can cause that separation too, so that it goes from a lovely six-pack muscle to kind of a bloop, especially when you're sitting up. I have a patient who described it as his little alien. So today we're gonna work on exercises that help correct that. And these are what I did after I had my baby and I had a 3-finger separation. So all lying down on the floor or on your bed, wherever you are most comfortable. So lying on our backs, we're gonna get the position right first for all of these exercises. So find that comfortable position in your spine. That might be all the way flat, it might be a little bit arched, wherever your back feels comfortable. And then you wanna think about gently pulling that belly button in towards the spine so that we're activating those deep abdominal muscles, which are the ones that we want to help support that rectus. So hands are gonna go on your hips to start. And this is kind of the beginner exercise. I'm gonna show an advanced version of each exercise as well. So if you're just starting out, start with the first exercise of the one that I'm gonna demonstrate for each of these. So hands on the hips, you're gonna take this leg and you're gonna come out to the side and back in. Again, all while focusing on keeping that belly button pulled in and making sure that you're not dipping into that hip. So staying on one side at a time. The advanced version would actually be to have those legs up and do the same thing, but that's a lot more work. And again, we'll probably do about 10 on each side, and then we're switching off to the other side, making sure that you're breathing, making sure you're keeping that spine position there, and making sure also that you are a little bit warmed up right before we start any of these exercises. I actually like to use my Derma Edge to get the blood flow going in through the muscles I'm gonna use and get them activated. I'll link that for you guys below as well. Good, okay, moving on, still staying in that same position, we're gonna add a little march, and again, 10 on each side. So keeping that belly button pulled in, we're gonna add one knee up and back down. Notice how slow and controlled I'm going. And you really wanna focus in on feeling it in through those lower, deeper abs. You can even add a little kegel too at the same time, since those muscles do attach right around that same area. You will not see any planks, sit-ups, or crunches in here because those are going to stress the rectus abdominis muscle, and we don't want that because that's what's separated. Once that gap starts to close, then you can go ahead and start to add those back in, but that can actually make that issue worse. The advanced version of this would again be legs up and actually tapping the toes down. We're gonna do a few more on each side, and I'm keeping my hands on my hips just to make sure that I'm not wobbling or pushing out here, right? And one more on the other leg. Awesome, good, okay. We're gonna take this leg, we're gonna bring it in and straighten it out just like that. So kind of alternating, bring that knee in, kick it straight out. The advanced version of this one is going to be bringing that knee in, straightening that leg, and then lowering the leg, which is obviously a little bit harder, right? So remember, if you're just starting out, if that gap is really significant, you maybe just had a baby, or you're just realizing that this is the case, you want to start with this level here, okay? And then we're going to do just one more on this side, and then I'm switching legs, right? And always making sure that you're trying to keep that good position even as you switch from side to side. And breathing. That is super important for this too, to help heal that separation. If you are not sure if you actually have that separation, I'll link a video for you too, which will show that a little bit as well. And we're gonna do just a couple more on this side. And of course, we're still breathing. Last one on this side. Good. I'm gonna come back down. I'm gonna add an arm movement in this time. So we're going back to that little march. I'm gonna lift with one knee and raise with the other arm. And this one is alternating. So it's gonna look like this. And I'm actually gonna bring both arms up. Oops, I was almost like a robot there a little bit. A little bit more advanced than the other ones because now we're adding an additional body part that's moving. But to make this one even harder, it's called a dead bug, or as it has been renamed by my patient, the struggling turtle. Both legs are actually off the ground as you do this. So again, always keeping one foot on the ground is a little bit easier than having both legs off the ground. Same thing when we start to add in arm movement. So if you feel like even this is a little bit much and you can't keep that good happy stomach position, just stick with that march and that's not a problem. Still breathing, hopefully. We've got a couple more to go. Notice too, I'm not bringing my arm all the way over because if I do, I'll arch into my rib cage, which we don't want to do. And I'm gonna do one more on the other side. Awesome, and we're switching it up again. Okay, we're actually gonna work those glutes a little bit, which again, help to support this whole system. So I'm gonna bring my heels together and my toes apart, just to really squeeze into those glutes a little more. This time I am gonna tilt my pelvis a touch more, and then we're lifting right on up. Squeeze a little extra and come back down, trying to keep those knees apart. So this is your beginning phase right here. If this is too much too, you can even just keep so those feet are pointed straight forward. The reason I like the toes together and the knees open is because it helps to open up the hip and that rotation actually gets more glute muscles. If you want an advancement of this, you're gonna add a little march. So you'll actually keep your hips up and then lift one knee and lift the other knee at the same time. Not at the, no, don't do it at the same time, just kidding. Alternating, one at a time. We're gonna do a couple more here. Still that nice focus on breathing. That helps use the diaphragm properly, which is part of this whole system as well. Yay, good. I'm gonna go right onto my side. We're gonna set up in the right position first. So again, using some of these hip muscles to help support. And we're still thinking about keeping that belly button pulled in because we are still using those abdominal muscles. You're gonna bring your legs out straight just to get the position right first. I see my toes, some of my foot, but not a lot of my leg. And that's how I know I'm in a straight line. From here, I'm gonna bend my knees. My feet, they're sliding on the floor. My feet are gonna stay together and I'm lifting that top knee up. I'm also have my torso lifted a little bit away from the floor so that I'm not smushing my favorite cupcake, which alternates between a vanilla with vanilla frosting and a carrot cake cupcake. This is, again, where you want to start. To make it a little harder, you actually can lift both lower legs off the ground and then still do this same motion here. We're gonna do a few more. All right, my belly button's still pulled in. We've got one more to do like this, and then I'm switching sides. Same idea, get that position set first, right? Where I'm in a nice straight line, rolled all the way over on my hip, a little space in the floor, bend those knees, don't let those hips slide forward when you bend those knees, and then just lifting this top knee up. As I'm lifting this knee up, I'm only lifting as high as I can without rolling backwards, right? That's also important because then we're using other things that we don't want to use either. So again, really concentrating on pulling in, lifting up, and not pushing out. And I know I keep focusing on breathing, but remember what I said in the beginning too. If you hold your breath, right, it puts more strain through that belly, which can actually make that separation a little bit worse, which is the exact opposite of what we're trying to do today. So we've got a few more on this side, and then we're going actually onto hands and knees. Two more. I'm I'm not smushing my cupcake. Hopefully you aren't either, whatever your favorite flavor is. All right, I'm going on to hands and knees. If you need a little support for your wrists or your hands, sometimes I'll put weights underneath or blocks or blankets just so it's not as much pressure here. But we're going into a little yoga move of cat-cow. You're going to inhale, squeeze those shoulder blades together, arch the spine, lift the head, and then exhale and tuck. Right? There's no advanced version for this one. This one just is what it is. It's a great way to get some spinal mobility, to work through the diaphragm, and to get those abs engaged too. So as you round, actually think about pulling in through those pelvic floor muscles and through those ab muscles. And I'll even link a pelvic floor video for you guys too, since those muscles do play a significant role in this too. This should just feel really darned good, hopefully. And we're gonna do one more in this position. Awesome, we've got one more exercise. So staying with those shoulders stacked over those hands, we're gonna take one leg and we're gonna stretch it right out behind us. Now we're alternating here. And as we alternate, you wanna make sure that you keep the hips from dipping and wobbling, and you don't wanna arch or lift that leg too high. That's kind of why I'm sliding back a little bit. You can make it a little harder by actually lifting that leg up instead of sliding. And then to really make it more advanced, you can go right into the bird dog, which is doing alternate arm and alternate leg. Again, definitely harder to keep that spine straight and happy. So always starting here is a good place. And we've got a few more to go, and then you'll have done it. And remember, this is the program that I actually use. I still have a little bit of a gap, but it's much, much better than when I first had my kiddo. Who sadly is also not a kiddo. He'd probably be mad at me for saying that. He's a big 15-year-old now. One more on each leg. Trying to press evenly through those palms too, and through the fingers so that we're kind of tenting there. Yay, and you did it.